My name is Igor Perko. I would like to welcome you to the WOSC 2020 online event. Now, in this presentation, I would like to elaborate on why put the energy in the hybrid reality, why examine it properly. Now, let's see why. First, it's a very complex theme, so it's worth investigating. It has extreme dynamics, so it's by far being from a static system, and it will have profound implications. It will introduce a new stakeholder in our system. It will redefine interaction between the stakeholders, and frankly, we do assume that quite soon it will create a new meta-level system of communication and reasoning. Now, to start with, let's see what hybrid reality actually is. Is it a system? Is it a subject? Is it a time frame? Well, obviously, we define it as a time frame in which artificial intelligence gradually develop its capacity to actively interact with other hybrid reality stakeholders. We will soon define who those are. And to do that, it needs to autonomously join the three basic capacities. So the first capacity is to sense. The second capacity is to reason, and this is currently called artificial intelligence. And the third capacity is the capacity to act in the real world. Now, when does this time frame ends? Well, it ends when the relationship between the artificial intelligence technology and the other stakeholder in the system becomes stable, so they get to an equilibrium. We do not know how this equilibrium, this end state, will look like, but this is why we should examine the dynamics and hopefully affect the outcomes. So let us examine which are the backgrounds to examine hybrid reality. Now, we needed to use quite a few different backgrounds. Regretfully, not all of them are listed here, but the major ones are. So first of all, it's the artificial intelligence technology, which is fairly, simple in its basic concept. So if you have a smart device, it's connected with the cloud environment, where the actual capacity of reasoning and communication is much higher. It can be accessed by others through its digital twin, and you can use a digital remote controller, a mobile device, or something like that to reach to the smart device. Now, the second one is the development part. Now, we have joined two technologies there. One is the learning curve, which sometimes referred as cybernetic loop, and I think you should be familiar with this one. The second one is evolutionary mechanics, which goes from the natural evolution, starting with autopoiesis, the fertilization, the hybridization, going to the supervised evolution, which involves breeding, and it also involves genetic manipulation. And this particular picture here is done by breeding, not by gene manipulation. Now, these are the elements we can use to elaborate on the development of the artificial intelligence part. Now, to examine the implications to the whole system, we are trying to use system dynamics, or basically better say, or modified version of the system dynamics. We call that interaction analysis and interaction examination. And the last bit, which we found really important, is the examination of how a new meta-level communication and reasoning meta-level will emerge, And by that we tried to use the toolbox of nervous system emergence, which basically explains how and why nervous system was developed and what happened with the role of previously relatively slow connected basic parts of the body, for instance, cells. After going through the backgrounds, let's have a short look at the model. The hybrid interactions model. Stakeholders affect their environment through the interactions. And because they're changing the environment through their interactions, it basically can show that. So you can by having a look at the hybrid reality interactions model, you can see where it is going. So the direction of modifying the relationship between the stakeholders is being elaborated. Now, interaction per se, they are really good in declaring the intent of stakeholder in the hybrid reality system, and they define the symmetry or asymmetry and the speed of communication between the stakeholders. By examining interactions, you can clearly define the stakeholder capacity to interact, which can rise or getting lower with the introduction of the artificial intelligence technology. Who are the major stakeholders here? The first one are people, individuals, which are self-aware, virtually connected, self-organizing, but also insecure of their purpose and provided insight. That means that their individuality is shrinking and they're more and more relying on the external form of communication and external form of reasoning. Organizations per se are reinvented. They're still self-centered, but they're becoming digitalized, gaining on complexity, and they are globalizing, sharing information. Some of them are user-aware, actively exploiting the environment wherever possible, and they're smarting up. Okay? Now, the environment is passive and it's being governed, and its complexity and dynamics is understood much better. Well, we're talking about natural, social, and urban environment here. Since it's being governed, the qualified environment agents are missing. Nobody speaks in behalf of the environment. The better understanding of the environment and lacking of the agents results in the level of exploration of the environment as a passive stakeholder is increasing. And last, artificial intelligence technology is becoming connected. It is observant, it's active, it's intelligence, and it is going to develop the mechanism to self-reproduce. By doing that, it will actively co-develop the new reality. Now, regulators, they just don't keep up, and they really need redesign. We need regulators. Right now, they're obsolete. Now, what's the experience here? The new grid is developing. The new communication grid is developing. ICT providers that are still leading the artificial intelligence technologies are gaining power over individuals, organizations, environment, and regulators. And that means that clearly there is an asymmetry in communication. Pathologies emerge. And artificial intelligence is learning and developing through that experience, involving all the pathologies which we can elaborate on. So, what's next? Now, we should all take care. We should all take care about the stakeholders, about the interactions between the stakeholders. To do that, we should develop frameworks which will support the appropriate behavior patterns and try to deal with pathologic behavior patterns But more than that, we should provide examples of a good conduct. Why is that so important? Because artificial intelligence will learn. It will learn from the frameworks, but more importantly, it will learn by the examples. So I'm really looking forward to see you first on the online meeting, where we are hopefully trying to format the examination patterns. How should we examine that? And then on the WOSC Congress in 2021.